Hello everyone. Today in this video, I'll be going through the prerequisite knowledge that is needed for executing test cases using robot automation framework. So once you want to start executing test cases, there is some knowledge is needed on certain technical concepts. So let me go through what are those. Git version control, Docker containers, robot framework, Makefiles, and some IDE you should be using to run these test cases, and the knowledge of using some IDE also is needed. Let me open this using some of the in the HTML preview. And before going through that, I would like to let you know that this document, whatever I am going through right now, is present in this public repo, README tutorials, prerequisite to get started with robot framework. Okay, I am opening this in a new HTML format. Here we have all the tutorial guidelines. Let me go through the prerequisites what we spoke right now. So get an understanding of Git version control, because if we have to clone the repositories, manage branches. If any updates are made on the repo, you should be able to get the update. So get an understanding of any of the version control tools. Then coming to Dockers and containers. So understand how containerized environment work and how Docker is used to manage services, because in this framework we have a Dockerized container framework structure, which I'll be going through in detail later. And then robot framework. So this is an open source test automation framework which we used for writing or executing test in this project. So get familiarize yourself with robot framework. I have links for the documents over here also. Okay, then make files. So get familiarized with how you can use make commands, because this project use makefile targets extensively to manage and orchestrate our workflow and the tasks. Okay, so this is all one aspect. The second thing is, if you want to execute the test cases, you can directly use the terminal or use any IDE. If you prefer using VS Code, IntelliJ, anything should be fine. But if you are using VS Code, I have some VS Code robot framework setup guide, which for configuring robot framework extensions and environment. Because if you have to really navigate between the methods and get good understanding of the entire workflow, then these extensions are needed in the VS Code setup. So if you want to go, I have this VS Code document where we have how to clone the repository, what are the extensions that are needed for robot framework to work very clearly in this particular document. You can go through this, and if you have any questions, we can discuss at that point of time, because this is a general thing, not specific to SnapLogic. Even though you Google outside, you can understand this, but still we can support you if you have VS Code setup and if you encounter any issues. So these are the prerequisite knowledge that is needed. The next thing is, before executing, just I want to go through what is the architecture right now, whatever we have. Okay, we have these components: CI/CD component and robot framework test suite, SnapLogic common robot. So I want to emphasize on this particular library. So we are extensively using and depending on SnapLogic common robot library. It is a Python package, public Python package, which is developed by SnapLogic team. It has all the SnapLogic related keywords, APIs, utilities. Okay, I'll go in depth later in the next tutorials about SnapLogic Common Robot. But imagine this as a library that is the foundation for Robot Framework Examples Test Suite. And Docker infrastructure is being used in this in this framework, which has a lot of containerized services, uh, which for bringing up the ground plugs or for creating some databases or messaging services or anything. So afterwards, like we will test the SnapLogic platform, pipelines, tasks, and accounts APIs using this particular library and with the help of the Docker infrastructure. Okay, very high level. Just if you get some idea of this, then it will be easy for you to understand the execution of our workflow. Okay, so these are the architectural components. You can go through them and just it is very self-explanatory. I don't go deep into these things. Just high level understanding is sufficient. Okay. And here, if you see in our home page, regard for the architectural overview, there is a blog we have in we published in the SnapLogic environment. Let me just go through that blog. So in the homepage, if you see, there is a blog explaining about the architecture and other details. So you can go through this blog, get more understanding of exactly what is being used in our framework, and further discuss in details later. Okay. So when I talk about this prerequisite knowledge again, basic understanding is good enough. No need to have in-depth understanding, but when you are executing test cases, if you encounter issues, at least to report the issues, you can just debug little bit what is happening and then report the issue. That is the purpose of getting this understanding. You don't have to really write anything with respect to Docker or write any code for yourself. All supporting methods will be provided by SnapLogic platform uh, and SnapLogic team basically. So this framework contains one more thing, lot of baseline test, which will be giving you the knowledge of how to extend to meet your requirements. So that is the whole purpose of this framework. This is not a ready to use framework, but a foundational framework which helps you to extend the support for the requirements of your SnapLogic pipeline executions. So once you understand the foundational concept of the framework, we provided lot of baseline test in this framework, which I'll go through in the next tutorials. Then you can execute the test cases or enhance the test cases once you get this prerequisite knowledge. Okay. Yeah, this is the architectural overview, prerequisite. Yes. And there are some configurations. Just I want you to understand before starting into this execution. In this entire framework, we use it variables. So there are environment variables, user-defined variables. As robot framework is case insensitive, we use this convention to distinguish between environment variables and user-defined variables. All environment variables are in capital letters, user defined variables are in lowercase letters. So this is needed before you step into your execution process.